the market going up, 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 up. That means it's finna go down. I'll take it, go. Knock a photo. I'll take it, go. Knock the market going up. You see the market going up, 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 up. That means it's finna go down. I'll take it, go. Knock a photo. I'll take it, go. Knock the market going up, 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 up. That means it's finna go down. I'll take it, go. Knock a photo. I'll take it, go. The market going up, the market going down. People remember my emotions, all I want is I'm on top. Papa be the better, take me from my way in motion. So grateful for the knowledge, and we have to go to college. I hope that you acknowledge y'all all about the money flow. So I can find for the low, money so low. Got to see that it's low. Forgot to settle, stop loss, make me slipping, that's a no. Working with this average got me all up in the bank phone. All this work, it ain't my fault. I've been smashing Rory, doing donuts on the asphalt. I take the radar shield, come out when I get caught. They was taking pictures when I pull up out the garage. Paying bills and whistling this out of facade. Got the goofies going crazy, wanna stop on my dog. I can't teach you everything, no sir, that ain't my job. Market going up, 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 up. That means it's finna go down. I'll take it, go. Knock a photo. I'll take it, go. Knock the market going up, 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 up. That means it's finna go down. I'll take it, go. Knock a photo. I'll take it, go. Knock a photo. Knock a photo.
Market going up and down, just like scamming in my comments. Then you're probably alright. Real from the start, man. Didn't get that. Shout out Crypto Phase, bro. One of the goats. One of the goats.
Trading is my specialty. Nobody can really mess with me. When it comes to TCT, I got the recipe. In and out, completely. Fine to my strategy. Technical analysis. My way on pull some savages. Hard to check my balances. They keep on going up. It's a long game.
Pre-Asia live, bro. Don't ask me why I am live. It's way too late to go live. It's way too late. Let me take care of this song. Shout out Crypto Face for the song. Let me check the chat. Yo, ACC, run it. Let's go, brother. Welcome. Vision, late night stream. Yes, sir. Not my usual times, but I was like, I said I was gonna go and do a public live stream all week, and I truly wanted to, but I just literally could not. Like, I just had no time, bro. I had no time. Wednesday, impossible, because we do 3 streams private. Monday, Tuesday, too busy. SK in the chat. Yes, Samuel. Welcome, brother. Marcus. It's nice because I'm seeing also some I'm also seeing some newer names, you know? Stewie, Tim, Cos Boss, amazing. Can I post that AI photo of you from Cheng? Bro, I was like, because people are not going to understand that that picture was AI. You know what I mean? Like, people are simply not going to understand that that picture was AI. So I'm like, why use that picture? I have so many pictures. Why that one? But it was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. But I hope all of you guys are doing good. Shout out to people that shorted, to all the people that shorted Chill Guy with me. Tim need to get up at 6 for work, but also got to quit that job, so we're here grinding. Legend. Absolute legend. Sometimes, man, sleep is important, but sometimes you gotta get some less sleep to put in that necessary work, right? Doge TCT playing out? No, it's coming down too fast. It's coming down too fast. Hey Lars, recently joined VIP. What's the best way to get up to scratch from a complete newbie? I have an introduction section in the server. So if you go to the server and you go to introduction, which people always skip over, but it's literally the most important, then you can see an explanation of each and every individual channel. And then I also have here a step-by-step plan on how to study TCT in the most effective way. So it starts with the mentorship on YouTube, which is completely for free. You can find this literally on this channel that you're watching, just underneath the playlist section. And then after a great understanding of that mentorship, watch the private lectures in this channel. Start applying it in a real trading environment with the back testing videos, and then use all my post-trading analysis videos for extra material. And then this is an approach on how you can analyze the YouTube post-trading analysis in the best way to benefit the most of them. And then just some more information right here. So definitely check out the introduction channel. Also here, just an entire list of all the explanations regarding all the channels, because I think that can be nice. Because it's a pretty big fucking server, not gonna lie. It's a pretty big server. Yeah, mentorship is priority number one. It's pretty funny. I'm gonna dive into some price action, but it's pretty funny because I was actually thinking of making a TCT mentorship 2025. Cause low key, some new stuff has been added. And there is some more refined analysis getting applied on a daily basis that people that only study the mentorship would not know unless they see me trade live. So I was like, should I make a TCT mentorship 2025 to explain all those details correctly? It's kind of like a V2. Updated notes, it's not that the current mentorship is just like invalidated. Like I trade the exact same way. It is just that regarding high probability models, I have, extra checklist here and there. So I'm like, maybe, could be nice. Doing the mentorship right now. That's good. Shout out to the fitness challenge channel. Also, guys, if you want to join the fitness challenge, look, the reason why I started the fitness challenge is because me personally, I'm going to get shredded for summer either way. So I was like, if I can make it a challenge, I can maybe motivate people that wanted to get in shape but never really had a trigger to start their process. I'm not a big fan of motivation. Just be disciplined, but I was like, it can help. It can definitely help boost it. And you can share your food, your gym sessions, keep yourself accountable, because accountability in life is actually very important. When you don't have to be accountable for something, that's when you start slacking the most, because then it all comes from self-discipline, which is important but also extremely hard, So if you want to join the challenge, simply go to just a free Discord server and to the general daily chat and text join. Okay, so you join the total Discord server, general daily, and simply click join. Okay, simply click join or comment join, and I'll put you in it myself. I don't know if I put this guy in. Oh, I didn't, so let me put that in. Okay. You are in, my friend. So do that because, man, we got some jacked fucking shout out to this guy. We got some jacked fucking kings in here, bro. We got some jacked guys. So it's time to get even more jacked, you know? But regarding price action, the reason why I kind of wanted to go live, during the day is because more people are awake and can ask me live questions in the chat. But I was like, well, I don't think I'm gonna be able to go live tomorrow. Besides obviously the London and the New York streams. So I was like, I'm gonna just do it here. I know a lot of people have questions, even though if they can't make it because of the awkward timing of the public stream. So they'll simply have to watch this stream back. Okay. And if they don't do that, well then, good luck round tripping your gains yet again. so I'm going to talk about some macro here on Bitcoin and my overall expectations going forward, while also, invalidations, all that stuff. And then just some local setups I'm eyeing, because if every single one of you listening, if you go to my previous public stream, I was screaming at the top of my lungs to long Sui on the breaker structure. Literally. We pre-planned this entire long on Sui. I said I would push price myself if we got the breaker structure. And it wasn't a public stream. So just know, if I'm screaming things in public, I'm confident. Otherwise, I'm not going to make a fool out of myself. Okay? But the people that pay attention during the public streams, or at least take notes, they're prepared. So take notes. Remember what I'm about to say. Okay? So personally, I'm surprised, I'm surprised how many people actually disagree with my idea of the purpose of the move up being distributive and not from a continuation standpoint. Because to me, that makes the most sense in general. I'm gonna dive, deeper into my thought process behind it. But in general, like overall, being a swing trader, which I'm not, right? Well, I have some swing trades, but I would put myself more in the day trading area, but as a swing trader, as an investor, it's pretty simple. You kind of hold for 3 years, buy after a 70% drawdown, and then just run it up to new all-time highs. It's a pretty, Bitcoin is a pretty easy bet for that. But overall, man, this cycle, like in general, this cycle has been going on for like 920 days, and we went up a 7x on Bitcoin, being in a bull market for 900 plus days. Smart money buys down here and they sell up here. So it's like, why would they even let you make that much money by sending it to 200K from here, which is a 2x? Like, just from a rational standpoint, it just doesn't make sense to me personally. Also, if you just look at, diminishing returns over time as well. I know there's some debate about that. I'm not going to dive too much into it. I'm more going to focus right now on the technical aspect and why what's been happening so far has, one, all been pre-planned since March 8th, which is now more than 2 months ago, and then my overall expectations going forward. So when Bitcoin initially came in towards the 100K region, right? When we came towards that 100K region, we kind of formed some sort of a Model 1 distribution, where the second tab was its own individual PO3. So you can simply follow your structure up, making higher lows and higher highs. That had a massive sell to buy, because again, it was a PO3, but this kind of had its own distribution model right here. Okay, I just want people to understand this. This had its own distribution model. 1, 2, 3, Model 1 distribution, reversal back down, deviate the low, deviate the high, dump. Okay? But this was its own 18-hour range. And the reason why it was an 18 range, or you can even call it daily range, was because you had the 2-candle pullback right here. So you need that 6-candle rule being applied going from low to high to validate the range on that specific time frame. So we kind of had like an 18-hour to a daily range in here. And that had a model 1 distribution and deviated the low, which we were expecting a reversal back up from there at that time, for the people that remember. Now, if market makers actually want to distribute price significantly, and with distribution, I just mean an entire process of selling so they're ready to dump price into actual like bear market lows. When you have an asset like Bitcoin that's this big in size with like multi-trillion-dollar market cap, right? Getting a range that's distributive for only 24 days is way too short. Anybody that has watched my range lectures in the mentorship knows that I talk about, I don't know if it's in the range lectures or in the advanced lectures, but you know I talk about low time frame ranges going over into high time frame ranges. So let's say you have a range here, which is a model 2 distribution, and that comes down, okay? This is that range at that point in time. And price comes down and completes this distribution model. If price is intended, and that's very, very important, if price is intended to put in a significant retracement, and this distribution is too low of a time or too low in duration, price will simply come back up, right? Price will make its way back up and take that high. And then what will happen is that if you zoom out on a higher time frame, this range will disappear, and this will simply look like swing structure, making a higher low and a higher high. So on the lower time frame, you'll see a model 1 distribution. On a higher time frame, that price action disappears, and you just have one market structure pool. And the reason why this is so important is because now if you follow the higher time frame pool, you can then draw your range again from high to low on the higher time frame. And now you can say that the purpose, right? The purpose of this lower time frame distribution right here was just to create the starting point of the bigger range. And if market makers want to dump price significantly, this is what they will do. This distribution model is not enough to dump price into bear market territory. So they'll make price go back up to create a bigger range, which can then lead into a bigger distribution model, right? And that distribution model could play out with a 1, 2, and 3. And maybe on a higher time frame, this again looks like one market structure pool. And then you can redraw the range again. And it's usually not more than like three different time frames with 3 different ranges. But this is actually what happens. So you get your low time frame distribution, goes over into mid time frame distribution, goes over into high time frame. Doesn't have to be in particularly that order, but that's usually what happens when they want to distribute and dump price significantly. Okay, significantly. So this is something I have talked about in the mentorship, which is back in like September 2024. You know, like I use this concept on all time frames. It could be like the 5-minute, the 15-minute, and the 1 hour. Could be the 1 hour, 4 hour, and daily. It depends on what the market gives you. But this goes on and takes place on every single time frame. Okay. So when I see that on the high time frame, it just gives you way more room to think of, to pre-plan, you know? So we had the 18-hour structure pool here, 18 hours / daily. Let's call it daily. Okay, we had the daily structure pool here, making a higher low and a higher high. And then we kind of had this range, and that was its own model 1 distribution. So we're going to apply the concept we just talked about. If I go on the 3-day, this pullback disappears. And if I have to draw my 3-day structure, I have a low, I have a high, and I have a higher low, and then we have a higher high. So that 18-hour range completely disappears on the 3-day because it's not valid structure, and ranges are pooled using valid structure pools. So on the 3-day, this is my range right here. Again, drawing from high to low because we are trending up. So now we can say that the purpose of this 18-hour to daily distribution was to create the starting point of my bigger range. Okay, with a 1 tap, with a 2 tap. And this is where my conviction for a macro range took place. Because what happened here is that instead of putting in a valid higher time frame distribution, we simply left behind liquidity. So what we did right here is, in order to validate a third tap from a distribution perspective, you either need to take the range high again, which will be a model 1 distribution, which will look like something like this. You come up and you take that high again right here, and then you come back inside, break structure, and get the reversal back down. That's your 1, your 2, and your 3. Model 1 distribution schematic, okay? For a model 2, it's a lower high that either sweeps extreme liquidity or mitigates extreme supply in case of a distribution. So this was that first lower high that was created after your second tab right here. So if you want to have a distribution, price needs to come up, sweep that liquidity, because they use that liquidity to reverse price. They use that buy side liquidity to fill their short orders, and then do something like this. If we get something like that, I'll be like, oh, first of all, I would have been short. Second of all, you will probably get an even bigger rejection. But what happened is that we left all those highs intact. So instead of sweeping that, we kept that liquidity above, and we never got a valid distribution model on that 3-day time frame. No, instead, we just came down within the range with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, leaving all these highs intact. And all these highs simply represent buy-side liquidity. So again, if a market maker is intended to dump price into bear market lows, that requires a lot of selling pressure. In order to create that selling pressure, they need massive sell orders, which they fill sweeping that buy-side liquidity. Because these highs trigger buy orders in the market that fill their short positions. Very simple. Oh. I clicked on a button. I have no idea what I did. Give me 1 sec. Extend. Okay, we're good. We're back. I need a charger. Oh, let me get the charger. Okay, we're good. So, picking up where I left off, right? They need that buy-side liquidity. So, when we didn't grab that liquidity, and I know it happens oftentimes, right? That your low time frame range, which in this case will be the 18-hour daily range, goes over in the mid time frame range, which in the case is the 3-day range. That could go over in the high time frame range. I'm very confident in the high time frame range happening because we left behind so much buy side liquidity right here. Okay. So price broke down, and now let's zoom out to the weekly. Let's zoom out to the weekly and see what we got. You will realize that this range on the 3-day is not valid on the weekly. Why? Because there is not a valid pullback following the 6 candle rule. So on the weekly time frame, you have 1 move up, 1 move down, and now currently 1 move up that hasn't made a new high yet. So we can say that the purpose of this 3-day range was to create your weekly range. Boom. And now we're talking about our macro model, okay? Now we're simply talking about our macro model that we were pre-planning way in advance. So that's how this price action has simply been developing so far, okay? Now then you had some resistance POIs within the range itself, which we are currently, hovering in this extreme supply, super normal place to reject. But this is now your weekly range. And that's why, I was also looking for accumulation models in here. For the people that remember, I was initially long from right here. I was initially long from right there for the Model 2 accumulation. That ended up going over in the Model 1 here at the bottom. So you can see right here, in order to create that pivot point, we had our tab 1, tab 2, and tab 3. That was your Model 1 accumulation, and that also caused the pivot point up. Now, it was lesser of a high probability model. The time displacement between tab 2 and tab 3 was bigger than tab 1 and tab 2. So, it wasn't the easiest to trade, but it is definitely a valid Model 1, which caused this current expansion up. Now, you have to understand that the way I've been observing price is based on what I trade every single day. I do this every single day for years now. So when everything that I've pre-planned, even to literally the tiniest detail that didn't even need to happen for the plan to still be valid, when that has been developing exactly how I wanted it to, it makes a lot of sense that I'm also pretty confident in my idea of what is going to happen next regarding the range, Because from a continuation standpoint, right, I can tell you guys right now, on the high time frame, if you actually want a continuation, an aggressive continuation towards the upside, price does not front run high time frame demand. And the most perfect example was right here. Price was making higher lows and higher highs. Okay, this was your high time frame demand right here. What happened prior to price getting the expansion? Again, you got your Model 1 that went over in a Model 2, and that third tap, which was in August 2024 during summer, we got the expansion towards the downside and the aggressive sell to buy coming into that demand. And now we can also see that high time frame demand has been mitigated. We have a high time frame model, and then we aggressively broke out of that reaccumulation range and saw a massive continuation towards the upside and an increase of like 48%. So you are telling me right now, okay, that a reaccumulation model that took exactly 130 days to develop, that mitigated high time frame demand, that caused an expansion towards the upside of a breakout of around 48%, and you're telling me right now that we have another accumulation model, but instead of the 130 days, it's only 40 days in duration, and it front ran your high time frame demand, that this is going to have a greater expansion towards the upside than your reaccumulation of 130 days that mitigated high time frame demand. That makes, objectively speaking, no sense, right? Can you still get the expansion? Yes. That's why I gave it an 80 to 20 probability of not happening, because the 20% is always a chance where it could still happen. But when 130 days reaccumulation causes an expansion of less than 50%, why would a model 4 times smaller in size cause that front ran your high time frame demand cause a bigger expansion? Makes no sense. Okay, and the people saying you're focusing too much, because I got some comments, you're focusing too much on market maker involvement, things can just go parabolic. Guys, what do you think makes price go parabolic? It's not your $100 buy order. It's billions of fucking dollars. Billions of dollars in buying pressure. And that's not you. That's not retail. Right? Market makers accumulate price, start pushing it, and then depending on how good retail reacts to their buying pressure, that's when you can have continuous pumps. If retail doesn't meet the buying pressure the market makers wants when they have accumulated, you kind of get like a pump and it dies off again. Okay? And they accumulated less right here than here because the purpose here is different. This range right here, okay, this range right here had no deviations of the highs. This right here, the starting point of that range, was literally purely distributive focused with an 18-hour distribution model going over in the 3-day model, which was a 2-tab model, now going over in the weekly model. Okay? So from just an overall market maker standpoint, it just makes no sense right now to expect a continuation. Do we trade expectations? No, we trade confirmations. But in my opinion, it makes no sense to have an expectation that price is going to continue higher, just like with an aggressive trend to 150, 200. Okay? Then, to add +1 confirmations to that idea, we have a lower time frame model that front run high time frame demand, but also we have obvious looking buy side liquidity. When you have obvious looking buy side liquidity, that means two things. One, the move up is going to be extremely easy because it's just liquidity. So these expansions don't particularly have to be new buyers stepping in, like fresh buyers. They can just be people getting stopped out of their position, which causes a buy order in the market. Okay? So it's more a liquidative move up rather than actually fresh buyers stepping into the market. So you can expect a fast move up. Second, that liquidity, when you have obvious looking liquidity right here, it just showcases the opportunity for the market maker to fill macro shorts. Because we can clearly see and clearly tell that there's a lot of buy side liquidity above right here, and they can use that to fill their short orders. Okay? So, when I'm talking about a macro distribution, I need people to understand that it's not something like this. And I hate the fact that people were drawing it like this. Oh, you think we're going to deviate the all-time high and dump? That is such a misrepresentation of my macro idea. Because then the moment price kind of spends some time in here, they're going to be like, oh, you were wrong, you were wrong, you were wrong. Anybody that watches the range lectures knows the DL2, my deviation limit of the range, okay? This is the deviation limit now, okay? So the manipulation can go up all the way to 120, maybe even higher, as long as you don't close above it, okay? As long as you don't close above it. This can all simply be manipulation. And guess what? If price decides to make its way up in here, and you do something like this, and you start to come back down, and you go for another move up, well then, you can extend that range high to the deviation high, and your DL2 also gets extended, right? And then you could get macro deviations like this in here, and then come back inside and dump again. So it's so much more, there's so much more opportunity and flexibility than to just say, oh, you're expecting an all-time high deviation followed by a dump. That's not the case. I'm expecting distributive price behavior, meaning the purpose of this move up is to sell more and not to have a trend continuation like we have in here. That's the only difference, right? And those deviations can go up to 120. Who knows 130? I don't know, right? I don't need to predict that. I'm just saying that the purpose of the move up is going to be distributive and not from a continuation standpoint. And I'm surprised that people are doubting this scenario because you want your altcoins to run, no? I think most people want their altcoins to run and not Bitcoin to run. Like, how can you expect, if you are expecting Bitcoin to go to 200K, and you're expecting alts to go crazy with the Bitcoin dominance drop, you're expecting a fucking altcoin season that's going to do 100x. How do you think Bitcoin is going to do a 2x here and Bitcoin dominance is going to drop? If Bitcoin goes up and Bitcoin dominance drops, it's because your altcoins go up way more. Show me a time where Bitcoin went up 100% and altcoins and Bitcoin dominance was aggressively dropping. Usually, right? Usually when Bitcoin dominance drops is when Bitcoin is focusing on getting a distribution on the macro time frame, and then alts catch up. That's usually what happened in the past. Doesn't mean that it happen in the future right now. I think we made it very clear this cycle that, cycle theories in general are up for debate. But if you get something like this on Bitcoin, right? If you get something like that on Bitcoin, well, this is the moment in time for your altcoins to outperform, which usually also doesn't last that long. So I'm not understanding people wanting Bitcoin to go to 200K. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. So basically, I checked all the comments under my post, right? Because I was all open ears. But I genuinely did not see one logical argument. Every single argument was things can go parabolic. Based on what? Based on what? Come to me with your experience and tell me, objectively speaking, why it makes more sense to expect a continuation than distributive price behavior. The same way I'm giving you my thesis now based on my trading experience. You know what I mean? And let's not forget, right? Let's not forget that USDT dominance, right? USDT dominance has been literally one of the most accurate charts to predict Bitcoin's price action better than Bitcoin. I'm not even kidding, guys. USDT dominance has literally been better in predicting Bitcoin's price action than Bitcoin. The amount of distribution models you had, we absolutely smashed this pivot point right here. Bitcoin had zero signs of an accumulation. It actually had a two-tab model. But USDT dominance, right? One of the best charts out there for literally predicting Bitcoin's price action. So you're telling me that during my whole thesis of Bitcoin, the purpose of the move up being distributive and not accumulative, right? We have 3 different levels of structure demand. I got some structure demand right here at 3.66. I got some structure demand right here at 3.37. Got some structure demand right here at 3.12. Just 3 individual structure demand POIs. You're telling me that Bitcoin or USDT dominance has a macro range right here, okay? Has a macro range with a 1-tap, a 2-tap, and potentially, if we go down here, which will result in Bitcoin going up, and potentially a 3-tap in the making coming into demand. But no, you are expecting a breakdown. Make it make sense. Like, listen closely to me. I would love for Bitcoin to go to 200K. We would all make more money. Right? We would all make more money. It's that simple. But that's why most likely it's not going to play out. It's that simple. That's most likely why it's not going to be playing out. But it's like, you haven't even tested this demand and you're saying you're going to lose it. You're saying you're going to lose an uptrend that hasn't been lost since the existence of this uptrend. But now you're expecting that you're going to lose it. It's like, don't you see that the expectation is wrong? You can be prepared for both scenarios. We are always, as traders, we always pre-plan multiple ideas and then we wait for our confirmations to get met. But how can you expect a trend that hasn't been broken since the existence of the chart to break as your biggest bet? You know what I mean? It makes, in my opinion, no sense. It's like you're confident in saying you can run a marathon and you haven't even ran 5 kilometers and you're out of shape. Like, let's try the 5 kilometers first before you can start talking about running a marathon. You know what I mean? But yeah, this is definitely something to keep an eye on in confluence with Bitcoin potentially pivoting as well. And if you just dump from here, well, then there's not going to be a confirmation to sell. It's not that I'm going to be like, oh, I'm going to sell right now because I'm expecting this. No, I'm going to sell it when I get my confirmations. It's literally, it's that simple. It's literally that simple. So we're going to be seeing here, but we got this local accumulation, only a two-tap model at the highs and lows here. So we might actually get some sort of a distribution right here, which could be nice for our potential scalp longs. But I'm going to dive into some lower price action more, maybe see if we can pre-plan a live trade on Doge. But wrapping it up on Bitcoin here, I kind of gave you my thesis, overall expectation, and it's all based on liquidity and supply and demand. I don't care about your expectation. You need simply supply, demand, and liquidity. That's it to move price. Otherwise, you ain't moving. So right now, if you follow the market structure from the most recent range rotation, we were expecting a higher low. We got that higher low, also got the higher high right here. This trend is still intact. I got some nice POIs below us if price decides to pull back for a higher low, for a higher high, prior to sweeping all this liquidity that was resting right here, which was the highs that we front ran, not confirming that initial 3-day distribution. And then I want you guys to understand that, any price action in here, I'm looking at from a manipulative standpoint and not from a continuation. And I want you guys to understand how crazy things can look in the moment. Okay. You need to understand how it can look in the moment, because I've used this example a lot in the private streams, but I want you to look at Tesla. I want you to look at Tesla. Okay. Tesla, this is a macro range right here. But just picture this being the Bitcoin range, right? With that obvious liquidity right here. Just picture this being the current macro range on Bitcoin. I want you to picture what it looks like in the moment that you are breaking out. In the moment that you're breaking out, things look like this. People completely disregard any of the plans that they had and they buy into FOMO. This is what things would look like. And this is when you have to be cautious. I'm not asking you to short the exact pivot point, right? Not asking you to short the exact pivot point. I'm asking you that this is how retail gets trapped. Things that look like this. It will look like this. And then what happens after? Boom. Massive sell order step in, reverse price. But in the moment, like now in hindsight, it looks obvious, right? Obvious resting buy side liquidity, deviation of the highs, use that liquidity to fill shorts, dump price 50% lower. In the moment, it looks like this. And your timeline is going to be full of people boo posting because everyone is a genius season when this happens, right? So just be careful, right? Be careful. Understand that this is how things could look in the moment. And again, even Tesla here, well inside of the DL2 right there, well inside of the manipulation zone. And then you can see this is where we are right now. Bro, if Tesla comes up here and confirms some sort of a distribution model, bro, I'll short this thing back down to 100. Bro, people will give me so much hate for that. But if I get that confirmation, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it, bro. But that's besides the point. Okay. Not looking here to trade that many stocks. And I'm surprised that I can pre-plan the price action on Bitcoin March 8th. Everything that's been going on right now has been pre-planned March 8th. But people are still skeptical. It's not because they lack rationality. It's because deep down, they cannot accept my idea playing out because it will probably not give them the returns that they want. So they seek confirmation bias to people that tell them they're going to 200x their portfolio. And then, they round trip their gains yet again. So I'm just here to remind you to remember the lessons you told yourself you were going to learn in this whole period of literally price action bleeding down and your portfolio evaporating. You know what I mean? It's like you probably told yourself some lessons, right? I'm reminding you, remind yourself of those lessons. Okay? Do it. Do it. Don't forget it. The amount of money that you could have made this cycle by actively buying and selling swing positions, meaning take profits right there, buy right there, take profits right there, buy right there. On spot on altcoins, you could have saved yourself an 80% dip, another 200% pump, which is a 3x, another 90%, 80 to 90% dip, and now already another like 2 to 3x from the bottoms. So it's like you're searching for this 20, 30, 40, 50x. Bro, if you could have simply sold when it was obvious to sell, buy when it's obvious to buy, and then sell when it's obvious to sell, buy when it's obvious to buy. Like, who remembers that Andy distribution at the all-time high right there, that we were looking at? It's like you could have made a 30x this cycle by compounding 3x's, like 3x, 3x, 3x. So start that process now. Have a plan, stick to it, don't deviate. Okay? How comes you're streaming so late? Traders never sleep. Traders never sleep. No, but I wanted to go live this week and I can't go tomorrow. And I've just been so busy. So I was like, I'll do it tonight. This time's different though. We'll see. We'll see. Now, locally speaking, let's check what Doge is doing. Let's check what Doge is doing right here. I think we just tapped into this demand zone right there. Man, we might be able to get like a little Asia scalp here, no? So I definitely like this demand, right? Low time frame demand, overlapping high time frame demand after a proper breakout structure. Rejected of supply, keeping all the highs intact, taking out the lows. One, two, and three right there. Now, top two and top three are definitely a bit closer together. They merge into one tap on the higher time frame, so just be careful of that. Now, the return to zone, I believe, is pretty decent. It's a pretty decent return to zone. And you got like your market structure high right there. Then you got some supply above it as well. Only 45-minute. Nothing that crazy though. Wrong two. Man, best case scenario is like this goes up. Best case scenario is that this goes up from here, breaks structure back to bullish, and kind of gets like a slow pullback that we can enter on like Friday morning on like the break of structure, back to bullish right there, and then trade the reversal back up. And man, I don't know, man. I don't think I would take profit at the technical target. It depends on what the overall market does, but man, you might got yourself a runner there, trading the higher low for the higher high, at least to here. That's a technical target. But then there's so much liquidity higher here on Doge that if it truly wants to go higher, it can easily sweep these highs right here. And then you got so much liquidity here as well. It's insane. But then we would kind of have to look at this in confluence with Bitcoin dominance. Because we were talking about that local buy to sell. Because if that can confirm a rotation back down on the lower time frame, that is the ultimate idea. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, so you can see when prices are going down, you know, Bitcoin dominance is usually going up because your altcoins go down more. But we were in this PO3, but we were kind of showing signs of exhaustion, right? Where we were in the PO3, but we were making lows and lows and lows, but we were barely able to make new lows. And a PO3, right? A PO3 is supposed to be aggressive. It's supposed to be something like this, not something like this. So when you're leaving all these lows intact, or you're taking out all these lows, but you can barely make new lows while leaving all the highs intact, we can expect like a liquidity purge, sweeping all that buy side liquidity, and then reverse back down. Since yeah, overall we are technically in a confirmed PO3. No, the manipulation phase is sketchier. Could always go over in like a model 2 distribution on the higher time frame. We saw that on Sui, right? Sui had something similar on the current all-time high. That's literally how we called Sui, on the all-time high right there. We would just need like a bearish breaker structure in these POIs, to be honest, to confirm it. And then I think USDT dominance can be a great addition. Yeah. I would monitor this very closely. Like very close. If we can get a move, I would prefer a move up here. If you can get a move up here to that 30-minute order block and then confirm the third tap, like this is a very nice distribution model right here. Very nice distribution model. And that could be a +1 confluence for the long idea here on Doge. For sure. This will be my best play because I'll most likely miss this entry. I don't think I would take the entry on that break because it's a fairly bigger stop loss. I would want a more refined entry than just than this. That's 2.76. That's pretty good. It's okay, but you can get something better. So I would prefer something like this to develop. Then this is best case scenario though. So there's a chance you don't get this, but we're gonna see. I'm definitely not taking any trades right now because like I gotta go to bed soon, you know? Why would you not draw your first tab of this range starting at the low on Monday? Because that's simply not like you need to be rational with your ranges, right? I said this in the mentorship as well. Like, does this look more like the starting point of a range? Like, what's the difference in price behavior between these two taps right there and then these two taps? Like, you can immediately see it, no? This looks way more like V-shaped price action, which is correlated to market structure. And here you can see that move up and that nice slow move down coming into your second tap, leaving all these highs intact here. You know? So this is more a market structure point, and this is more a proper range starting point. And just an extra tip that I can give you if you are struggling with drawing your ranges correctly, the first market structure point is usually never the starting point of a range. So what do I mean with that? Well, right here, price had a buy to sell. You know, you had a buy to sell, and then you got the first lower high for the lower low. That first pull is usually never the case. It's never your. I'm not gonna say never. It's almost never the starting point of your range. It's usually the second one right here that starts the range. But yeah, guys, the thing is, if you get something like this, I'm going to try and update this trade live on my socials if I manage to find an entry. But if it happens during Asia, I will probably be asleep. But if it happens during Asia, it probably means it's happening too fast because I'll be up at around 7. So, I think we should be good. But if we get something like this, guys, I'm telling you, if we manage to get a W and I publicly trade this, go and invest in yourself and just get 1 month of the VIP Discord, bro. you will have access to all that private educational stuff. You can just screen record it, save it for yourself, so you just have access to it, so you know about high probability models, and you will quickly realize that you will fucking make your entire yearly subscription back in an individual trade. You guys see me post the same stuff every single time, bro. My entries are always the same. They're always the same. Just scroll through my profile. Like, it's genuinely an entry system, right? It's literally an entry system that is gonna make me 100 million in the next 5 to 10 years. Guaranteed. I just have to keep on executing it consistently. That's all, which is the hardest part, right? That's the hardest part. But you guys see me take the same trades every single time. I don't think you guys understand that what RR actually means. I feel like the people that are not actively trading, they are like not really resonating with the RR. But an RR basically means risk to reward. So if you risk 1 on RR of 5, you make 5. And an RR of 3, right? An RR of 3 means you risk 1 to make 3. So here on Sui, when I was screaming at the top of my lungs to publicly long Sui right here, which could be a 30 plus RR, if you risk 1K, you make 30K. I understand why all these degens are trying to get 30x's on their altcoin investment when they can also just learn how to trade and get 30 RR. Now, you shouldn't be risking your entire amount though, and you have a liquidation price, which is different. But like, if you're going to be a degen, be it professionally in trading by trading high probability models. You know? Like, this is my way of, I don't know, benefiting of the move up. You're not gonna see me anymore in the trenches, you know, trying to get these on-chain coins. No. I'll just long these things from the bottom for 30x return on my investment, which is the risk. But I'm telling you guys from the bottom of my heart, okay? I really don't care about your $60. They don't benefit me that much. But get yourself access to the high probability models, okay? You will have 1 month. You will realize that you can make so much money trading that you, first of all, you don't even want to invest. I'm not saying it's easy, but your eyes will get opened. The whole new world will open up. Okay? Actual consistent trading the same models every single time. And then, even if you don't want to trade, look at the pivot points we nailed. Look at my post from March 8th. I want you all to go to my profile and type in my search area, or whatever it's called, search filters, Sui. Type in Sui, and you will see that we publicly shorted Sui. Now, I wouldn't say shorted because I missed the entry, but we nailed, absolutely nailed the macro pivot point at the all-time highs here, telling you that we're going to go to 2.8, and then we nailed the bottom here. Whether you are putting a leverage trade behind it, or a spot trade, or whatever you want to do, it's based off the TA. Your investment game will level up if you can do TA. Okay? So the mentorship is free. Then, once you see that, you're, bro, whole new world, right? Whole new world will open up for you. And it's going to benefit you in every single way. It's that simple, right? It's going to benefit you in every single way. Whether you want to spot trade, leverage trade consistently, day trade, swing trade, I don't care. You can just use the knowledge to your own advantage. Same on the Doge top. I know, bro, but I'm not going to lie. I should have kept that trade open. I know it's easier in hindsight. Because everything is easier in hindsight. First of all, let me show you guys how we nailed the exact. I publicly shorted this as well. I just remembered. You can type in Doge and you can see I think I made like a 15-minute video explaining why I shorted Doge. But man, I cashed out too early there, bro. I know, it was a refine entry. It was somewhere in there. But bro, I should have known though. I should have known that this was like crazy. But it's all good. We live and we learn, you know? We live and we learn. Ah. But yeah, you can say you could guys, anybody in the chat, every single one of you that have watched the TCT mentorship and the high probability lectures, tell me something special I did here to call the all-time high on Doge than just a simple model one with a breaker structure. Like tell me anything different that I did here. That's all that I did, bro. It's not that hard. What the hard part is about trading is your own human psychology, your own mental state of mind, you know? That that only you are holding yourself back in trading. Like once you get the TA, everyone gets the TA down in like, I would say max 6 months. If you actively put in work every single day, in 6 months, you'll get the TA down. Now you need to figure out your own flaws, mentally speaking. Do you feel greed, fear? Apply bad risk management, all that stuff, you know, which is a longer process because trading is not easy, guys. Trading is not easy, but it's the most rewarding. And because it's the most rewarding, it shouldn't be easy. If it's easy and it's the most rewarding, it's contradicting. That's not how life works. If something is the most rewarding, it's the hardest, okay? But the TA is not the hardest. Execution is hard. That's why you have all these people online that sometimes, most of the times, don't even live trade, but they're just analyzing all day. Bro, all of you guys could start your own server analyzing. Bro, analyzation is easy. It's execution that's the hardest. Knowing when to actually pull the trigger. You know what I mean? But I'm telling you right now, you guys, some of you guys have seen me grow from like 100 followers to like right now like almost 11K. My account is gonna keep growing. I will genuinely make in the future it's been on the whiteboard for years now. I ain't stopping until I make 100 M's trading TCT, bro. Just turned 21. So I'm telling you right now, hop on the train. Okay, hop on the train. Watch the mentorship. It's on YouTube. A whole new world will open up for you. You'll be better in your spot investments. You have better invalidation, better targets, easier to read price action, call macro pivot points. Literally. So get to work. Please get to work. If you are not hearing from me on my X, it's not because I'm taking a break. It's because I'm actively trading and live streaming in the server. If I'm not active in the server, trust me, I'm doing something busy, which is the reason why I can't be active in the server. But if you don't hear from me, I'm always working. The reason why I have the reason why I didn't have, a public live stream for like 2-3 weeks is because I was busy. Literally. Because I'm not here to analyze all day. I'm here to make my own money. And share the trades with you guys to learn from and benefit of, you know? Here, SK is saying it. Just understanding order blocks could already change your trading. Literally. Literally. So yeah, on Doge here, I was like, you know what? Let's just share a free setup so people can make money from the setup and then invest in themselves. You know, it's a win-win. So I would look for a breaker structure here, followed by a pullback with preferably a reconfirmation to then get the reversal back up here. So you would get your level 1 breaker structure making lower highs and lower lows. Boom. Level 1 breaker structure. then measure that structure from top to bottom, which is your level 2, and if that breaks back to bullish as well, I would confirm a rotation back up. Now, if you mitigated extreme demand, right, very important. If you mitigated extreme demand on the pullback, then you can put your stop loss locally below that low. If there's still a reason to go lower, for example, this 15-minute block right here, then you cannot put your stop loss below that low. You have to put the stop below the main low because there's a reason to go lower, which is to mitigate demand to go higher. Okay? So observe this right here. Simply set your alert at that market structure high and see how it develops. I'll be heading to bed, so I'm not going to be monitoring it live. Check USDT dominance in the process of doing so. We still got this supply zone up here, so if price can simply make its way back up one more time, which will cause maybe a tiny little correction on Doge, but if you could do something like this, that would be an amazing +1 confluence for the long idea on Doge right there. And if everything truly aligns and we see a massive pump from here, then I will be trying to update it live and maybe even also leave it run for higher prices. Now keep in mind, if you don't get the thing I have drawn out here and you actually go lower, don't get rid of the range yet. Because on a higher time frame, these tab 2 and tab 3, they merge into one tab. So this range is valid on the 4-hour. And then you can see that those two dots simply merge into one because it's one lower high and lower low. So price could come lower here again, still come back inside, and that would still just be considered your second tab. And you simply have to wait for your retracement right here for the third tab before the reversal. You know, the higher time frame the model, probably the more aggressive the expansion will be. So wouldn't actually be a bad thing to spend some more time ranging in here. But I'm just opening your eyes to the fact that there are multiple scenarios from here regarding the same overall intention, which is an accumulation model. We just got to be observant and always remember that market structure is king. Okay, so if you don't break market structure, there's simply no entry. So have it on your chart right here. Ask people, join the general Discord server. If you are watching me right now and you're not in the general Discord server where like everyone has access to it, then you're missing out either way because I can be active in there. Let me invite you guys. Because I'm also sometimes active in the general chat, you know, so I'll copy an invitation link in case you're not. I think most of the people watching are inside the Discord, to be honest, but if you're not inside of the overall Discord yet, I'm active in there. More active, also more personal than I am on X. I'm just posting on X. Guys, you don't want to waste your time scrolling on X. You know, I'm really not a social media type of guy. I just post on X. That's it. I am not actively looking at other people's stuff on X. I'm just posting my shit. So if you want to talk to me more personally, then just ask me things in the server. Okay? And especially right now regarding Doge, you know, if people are asking some questions, maybe some of the VIP members can chat in the overall total server, help some people out if they have any questions, if this happens during Asia. But again, if it happens during Asia, it's probably not going to be the best. So we'll see. I'm gonna send my alert either way. And then watch for Doge right here, because I do like Doge. I like the context so far. I like the build up. Now, right, you have the range duration, you have the return to zone. Now you just need that quality third tab POI, quality breaker structure, and then preferably some confluence of, you know, USDT dominance and Bitcoin, and you're all good to go. Okay? Checking the chat. Did I miss some messages? Can I pay for a year with crypto without doing the Coinbase link? You can shoot me a private message and we can make it work. How many members? Enough, bro. You'll have a lot of activity in there. USD JPY bouncing off extreme demand, bro. USD JPY kind of broke me today. The amount of patience required on this USD JPY trade has been fucking insane, bro. And this is just like, it's getting just dragged down. You know what I mean? Like, you just want to see buyers. That's all that you need. You just need buyers. But I don't know if someone else remembers. I was watching GBP or USD JPY another time as well, and it also just died off. Yeah, right here. Who remembers? I was watching USD JPY right here as well, and it just died off right there. And now I was watching USD JPY again, and it just died off. I don't know what it is with USD JPY, but it just decides to die off, literally. Literally decides to just die off when I look at it. So I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning, look at the charts fresh, and then see if we can make something from it. CJ is actually crazy. After I watched the lectures, I knew I had been blind when it comes to the language of the financial markets. Bro, you're going to look back, like, once you have finished the lectures, you're going to look back at 2021 and you are going to shoot yourself in the face, bro. The amount of high time frame, the entire market was high time frame accumulation models. High probability as well. Like all over the place. Like all over the place. It was literally high time frame accumulation into high time frame distribution into high time frame accumulation into high time frame distribution. Bro, imagine the amount of money you could have made trading this model to accumulation. This is insane, bro. This model to accumulation, bro. There is nothing 100% in trading. But if something comes close to having 100% hit rate, it's when your model looks like this. Maybe you'll get it once a year. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get the return to zone. But it's not letting me. There you go. Bro. You're telling me with the knowledge that you have now, Mr. CJ, you would have not opened up a 5% risk on a high time frame model like this, bro. You would have seen me maxed out on options, bro. It's like, it's the most easy. Like, these are nice trades, but this right here, 60 days in duration, that clean, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started, bro. Insane. Insane. Will you be public live tomorrow? No. I'll be live streaming inside the server for London and for New York. Just live trading. We always have two live trading sessions a day during London and New York OPA. And then also on Wednesday, we have educational class for just material. So that's why I'm live right now. It's like 2 a.m. for me right now. So again, if you are only joining just now, in the beginning of the public live stream, I gave my macro outlook on Bitcoin, kind of giving my arguments as to why I think a macro distribution makes more sense. And also what a macro distribution would actually look like, which is not simply a deviation of the highs and dump. Could happen, but I'm not expecting it. Okay, so don't portray my idea as a deviation of the high and then dump. It's an overall macro distribution, you know? So keep that in mind. Don't get trapped. Follow your plan. Guys, I'm telling you right now, I would love for every single one of you to make all the money that you desire. I will get way more followers and way more engagement if I talked about we're going to 200K and I was talking about memes doing a 50x. I'm just real. It's called integrity because I know it's not going to happen. So I'm not going to portray like it is. Okay? So I'm saying this for you, not to be mean, Not to be discouraging, I'm just showcasing reality, okay? Which is what you need to see in these markets. You say the first swing is market structure and rarely works out, but I see on other trades you mark that the first swing is. It depends on the time frame as well, Mr. IV. So on macro time frame, it could like when I talk about this, for example. Well, you don't have to guess it. That's the difference. First of all, this is on a high time frame, right? And Doge is on a low time frame. But secondly, you can just see it. This is just market structure. It's not that hard. It's just a buy to sell. It's V-shaped price action. Here, what happens between tab 1 and tab 2? Look at this. Does this look like V-shaped price action, or does this look like a range by the time you take out that low again? Like a range, guys, a range is sideways price action. That's it. Do we have sideways price action? No, it's a buy to sell. Do we have sideways price action? Yes, you're curling down. Okay? A range is just sideways price action. And if you watch me trade live, you will quickly get the hang of it. What prop firms do you recommend for crypto? I'm affiliated with Breakout. So I have a discount code if you want to try it in the server. It's on the affiliate section. I personally don't use Breakout just because there's no need for me to use a prop firm. But I have respectable traders using it and having gotten multiple payouts on demand, you know? So great trading environments as well. Keep in mind that I always suggest use a prop firm to scale your starting capital, okay? And only get a prop firm account if you have proven to yourself that you can make the 6 to 7% target or whatever, or like the 10% target without losing 6%. Okay? If you cannot make money trading, don't get a prop account. You're just throwing your money away. Prove to yourself that you can make 10%, which is 10 RR, if you risk 1%, without losing the max drawdown of 6%. And if you have proven to yourself that you can do that, then go for the prop account. Scale up your own personal account with the profits from the prop, and then trade your own personal money and compound that into millions. Okay? Guys, it's possible. It's not easy, but it's possible. And that's all that you need to know. You as a human being, you just need to know that it's possible. And I'm telling you, it is possible. You just need to put in the work. I've been trading for 5 years now. Okay, 5 years. Thousands of hours of screen time. It doesn't just come naturally. Just put in the work and eventually you will get there. It's literally that simple. It's hard, it's tough, but it should be because it's the most rewarding thing. Okay? It's the most rewarding thing, bro. And the most beautiful thing is so many people have like a mental error because they're like, trading is so hard, and why is it so hard? And they're mad about trading being hard. But if it wasn't hard, it wouldn't be rewarding, and you wouldn't be chasing it if everybody could do it. So the fact that you're chasing it is because no one else can. And that's why it's so rewarding once you can. So it should be hard, you know? It should be hard. So accept the fact that it's hard and then realize that the TA part isn't hard. It's you, is the execution, okay? And that's why I love TCT, because TCT is such a fixed entry system. You have a market structure level to wait for. You have a stop loss as your invalidation, and you have your profit taking, which is the opposite range point. Fixed system. You see me take the same trades every single time. They work. I'm living proof. The community is living proof. The posts that you see me repost on my socials are from the other people taking it. So lock in. We're 5 months into 2025. Go put in that work. Watch Doge right here. I'm giving you a free setup I'm eyeing. Okay, go watch Doge right here. Preferably something like this. Break a structure, slow pullback, take it into the morning, pump higher. Technical target being the range high right here. If you have any questions regarding the setup, just ask me in the Discord server. Some people will respond or I'll respond in the morning. And it's time to lock in. Shout out to Will. Great to see you guys all in the chat, even at the 2 a.m. sessions. We've been going for an hour and 20 minutes. I'm gonna try and pop in some more public live streams, but I'm tight on timing, to be honest. Time is valuable, and I'm already streaming twice a day for London and New York in the server. So when I have my time, I'll try and hop on here and there. If I have to get a point across, I'll definitely hop on a live stream. And I want you guys to be aware of multiple scenarios, okay? Don't be blinded by one side. Clean up your X feed, because you will get trapped into believing all the bullish narratives, because it will be everyone is a genius season, okay? If we get euphoric price action, obviously. I appreciate you guys. If you're listening to me right now, just know that you are literally 0.0000001% of people that are actually trying to change their life, and you are unique, because we have 98 live viewers right now, around 400 views in total. Not that many people will be listening to me here right now at this specific time, at this specific day, in this moment, in the fucking world, in the universe. It's crazy, right? You guys are all over the world listening to me right now when I'm in my room talking at this exact moment, which is unique because once the seconds have passed, you will never get that moment back. So you are unique. You can make it work. If you're listening to me right now, it's supposed to be hard, because if it's not hard, it's not going to be rewarding, and you wouldn't be chasing it in the first place. So lock in, put in that work, and it's going to be your year. You can find me in a Discord server. So join also just the overall general section. I'm going to be active in there. And I'm usually pretty active in there. And I'm going to hit the sheets, get some nice sleep. And I'm going to see everyone for the London stream tomorrow morning. Peace out, guys.